Good evening, everyone. Our webinar on investing for every life stage will start in a few minutes. While we wait, please invite your family and friends to tune in to our free webinar and follow Dragonfly on our social media pages for a chance to win Grab credits while also learning how to tailor your investment strategy for every phase of your life. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Investing for Every Life Stage webinar brought to you by Dragonfly in collaboration with Manulife Investment Management. I'm Claude, your moderator for today. As this webinar brought to you live on Facebook and YouTube, feel free to comment and start a discussion in the comment section so that we can address them later in the question and answer portion of our webinar. Please also stay until the end of the program for a chance to win 500 Grab credits. Our webinar for today is about investing for every life stage. In a world of diverse financial goals and aspirations, it's crucial to have a tailored approach to investment strategies. That's precisely what this exclusive webinar is all about. Whether you are starting your journey, planning for and anticipating the golden years of retirement, this session is designed to help you size the investment moves every phase of your life. We are joined today by Manulife's Wealth Sales, Mr. Matubis, who will be sharing his expertise and insights on the topic. Zach Matubis is head of Wealth Sales, Life Investment Management, and Trust Corporation. He is responsible for building a strong wholesale and specialist team to support key strategic distribution partners and channels. He has more than 20 years of experience in retail banking and wealth management. Tubis is a child wealth manager, a registered financial planner, an SEC certified fixed income salesman, SEC certified investment solicitor, and a certified UITF salesperson. He was a scholar of the Philippine Science High School. He received his bachelor's degree in mathematics from the University of the Philippines, Diliman, where he was a Department of Science and Technology scholar, graduating magna cum laude. Without further ado, we are giving the virtual floor to Mr. Matubis.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope my audio is clear and my presentation is already visible to everyone. So appreciate everyone sharing their Thursday afternoon with us. So I'll go ahead with the presentation. So as Claude mentioned, today's topic is investing for every life stage. And this is important because we know that many of us are in different life stages right now. And it's important for us to have an idea more or less how our present life stage will determine or at least influence us in terms of our investment decisions, because we will have different um, situations, ambitions at different stages of our lives. So that will definitely influence our investment decision. So I'd like to start off with the basics. So obviously, we may have different we may be in different life stages as of now, but it doesn't. Some rules do not change. Some basic requirements do not change, whether you're starting off or you're nearing retirement. So I'd like to start off with this basic important investment strategies or decisions that you have to make. So the first one would be that you have to start savings as soon as you start earning money. So it's important. Many studies have shown that it is very important for you to start as soon as you can. No, delaying it will impact your ability to achieve your financial goals. No. Second is along the way, you should learn skills, strategies, and also the discipline, no, while investing. No, obviously, you will never start off as an expert, but what's important is you start off immediately, and then you learn as you go. Particularly strategies that will work for you, and more. And I think the most important thing here is the discipline. No, as you go through your investing journey, that discipline should will really help you achieve your financial goals. Third would be for you to develop good savings habits, and that would include also spending habits on the other side. So um, hopefully during your journey, by starting to invest early and learning how to invest and learning discipline, you will develop good savings habits, rather than bad habits. And then the fourth one would be wherever you are in your life stage, it's important that you continue to contribute or add to your investments regularly. And this would should be constant, because studies have shown by contributing regularly, even if the amount is small, that will really help you. And an advice that I would have would be for you to automate it if you can. Find a platform that can help you automate it, because it's very important that you don't forget, or that you don't uh, get scared when markets are volatile, or get too greedy when markets are good. No, so it's important to have that discipline of regular contribution. And then finally, it's never too late to begin. If you're in your life stage right now, wherein you have not invested yet, and like I said earlier, you might be behind the curve already, because like I said, it's important to start saving as you have the ability to save. um, on the other hand, it's also true that it's never too late to begin. It's You can always start now if you have realized that you have not made investments in the past. It's never too late to start, because at the end of the day, it's really about you being disciplined, doing regular contributions, and achieving your goals. So having this basics that is set up here, that I believe would be a requirement, a minimum requirement, regardless of where you are right now in your life stage. The next step would be, what would be your investment decisions, and what factors will affect those investment decisions. So these are three basic questions that you would be facing when you make investment decisions. Is like what are your needs and objectives? Are you looking for growth, or are you looking for income? Those are different. One, growth implies that you just want your capital to grow or appreciate, and you don't need periodic income, or you don't need to withdraw from your fund during certain periods of the time that you're invested. Income, on the other hand, means that you need to get something like a monthly income, no, from your portfolio. So this is a question that you might have to ask yourself. Second is, are you looking for capital preservation or aggressive growth? No, it really depends on what you're looking for. The next would be your risk appetite. Are you a risk averse person, or right now do you see yourself in a situation that you can't take too much risk, or are you somebody who can take risk and take advantage of aggressive investing? And thirdly, the next investment decision that you have to look into would be, or factor that will affect your investment decision would be, are you a rookie saver or an experienced investor? So are you just starting out new? Is your experience right now just limited to investing in time deposits? Or are you an experienced investor, wherein you have experience investing in stocks, in bonds, and other alternative investments out there, not just time deposits. So that would be something. But at the end of the day, usually your life stage will impact these three questions. No, where you are right now in your life stage will generally dictate where what your needs and objectives are, what your risk appetite is, and what your experience is. So more or less, this is basically what we're answering for every life stage. So let's go to the first life stage, and look at what your needs are for this life stage. And then let's look at other life stages. No, so generally, like I said, these are general ideas. There will be overlaps. No, some of you will be starting your careers later than others. Some of you would be starting a family earlier than others, or so on. No? But these are just general ideas, and will most likely fit an average Filipino investor. But like I said, iba-iba tayo. You might be somewhere else right now, as different from what the slides are saying. But this is a general um, view of an average Filipino when it comes to the life stage. So the first life stage would be your early career, where we can also call it the accumulation stage. No, so this is basically a person who just graduated from college, probably age 20 up to 30 years old. The focus would be building a career, making sure that you chose the right career, doing well, being noticed by your boss, set yourself up for promotion, etc., etc. That's your focus right now when it comes to your career. The second focus that you have would be saving for major life events, like you're saving up for a wedding if you already have a significant other, or if you're already preparing for a purchase of a car or a house, no? And then generally third would be you're basically accumulating wealth. That's why it's called the accumulation stage, no? This is the first time that you're earning a salary, first time that you're out of your house, first time that you're really not depending too much on your parents, and this is your chance to, make a name for yourself, earn money for yourself, not depending on your parents too much. So this is the accumulation stage, no? At this stage, you definitely don't have enough money yet, but you have the time and the energy. No, so what to avoid during this time? Obviously, you have to avoid some stuff. No, like for example, spending too much, living the YOLO lifestyle, or you only live once lifestyle. Um, Second one, I'd like people to avoid would be thinking that it's still too early to save. Bata pa naman ako. I can always save 10 years down the road or 5 years down the road. I can always start later. And then in conjunction with this thinking is this third bullet, which is my money is too small to invest. Ang liit ng sweldo ko, ang matitipid ko lang X amount of money. My income will be too small to matter anyway. Tsaka na lang ako mag-invest pag malaki na. So please avoid these types of thinking, because this type of thinking will derail your investment journey and prevent you from reaching your financial goals, no? So on the next slide, we'll see how this focus and what to avoid will impact your investment decision. So the first one would be um, for you to establish an emergency fund. No, that's very important. No, why? Because we do know that emergencies can happen. In fact, that's why it's called an emergency. It's something that is unforeseen. And setting up an emergency fund can help you. No, like for example, if you unexpectedly lose a job, then at least for the time that you're looking for a new job, you have money to rely on. Second would be purchasing insurance. Start to look at insurance offer that will really help you down the road if something unforeseen happens to you. But third, you can already start to invest. No? And the great thing about being young, being in the accumulation stage, is you can really go for growth-oriented investments or aggressive instruments like stocks and equity UITFs. No, uh, why is that? Why is that true? No, the reason why we recommend that for you to have an aggressive stance is because you have time. No, if something bad happens in the markets, you have time to wait. You have time to recover. Uh, because you're still young, no? So and your objective is to really get aggressive growth, no? So for those types of investment decision, a typical investment portfolio will be something like what is in there. It's 90% equities. So equities may be in the form of Philippine stocks or equity UITFs, no? Uh, all of these are available on the Dragonfly platform, no? And then the 10% would be cash or money market or time deposit. Money market is available in the Dragonfly platform, no? Why do you need that cash, no? That's your probably your emergency fund, no? So something happens to you, like you lose a job, there is something that can tide you over while you're looking for a new job. Again, this is something that is general, might not apply to everyone in this accumulation stage. Some people might not be too aggressive. They might look for less aggression. Baka naman masyadong aggressive in 90%. That's okay. What's important is there should still be some level of aggressiveness, no? Kasi bata ka pa, sayang yung opportunity. So fun ideas to accomplish this 90%, 10% allocation would be 10% in the money market fund. So this is the one that will be your emergency fund. It has very little volatility. It behaves very smoothly. So this can be your emergency fund. Kasi mahirap pag-aggressive din yung emergency fund mo, because like I said, if it's an emergency and then during that time that you need the money, the market is down, which can happen, lugi ka, di ba? So that's why your emergency fund should actually have very little aggressiveness. No? So that's why you have 10% there. And then the 90% is spread over three UITFs, equity UITFs, meaning invested in equity securities or stocks. And we like these three funds. Like you can look at American Growth. This will be invested in US stocks, US equities, like the likes of Amazon, Facebook, Apple. and then 30% global technology. So this would be invested in companies that are high tech, no, like Microsoft, Nvidia, etc., etc. And then 30% global thematic opportunities, a global equity strategy, no. So these are just suggestions, like I said, but this will fulfill more or less the 90-10 requirement. And what's great about Dragonfly and Manulife Investment Management is that because of the ease to get these funds, it's very easy to do. And because of the low minimum requirements, you can actually, do this very easily. These 4 funds, for example, it's very easy to do because of the low minimum requirements. Now, let's go to the next stage. Let's say you've reached 30 years old, you're now starting a family. So and you're starting to, build your career. You got promoted twice or thrice already. There's a healthy level of career advancement, but you will have increased responsibilities because you're probably have a kid already or kids. And then you're starting to prepare for the future. So this would be around age 30 to 40. Your focus now would be career advancement. You're about to start to save for your children's college education, and then also your own retirement. And then it's still accumulating wealth, no? Continued accumulation of wealth. So what to avoid at this stage, no? Please avoid too much credit card debt, no? Being a habitual revolver. Revolver meaning you're not paying off your full bill. Because if you're revolving, that means you're spending on uh, finance charges or basically interest, no? So that will actually add to your debt. So please avoid that, no? The second thing that you should avoid is continuing to take too much risk in your investment decisions, because that now that you have more responsibilities, maybe taking less risk would be ideal. And then the third thing that you should avoid would be the extreme reverse of that, taking too little risk, no? Because if you take too little of a risk, no, you are in danger of being hit by inflation, no? Because if you're taking too little risk, you're earning too small, and at the end of the your investment life, you have actually wasted a lot of time because you're earning what, 3%, 4%, when inflation is as high as 4%, 5%, no? So this is also something that you should avoid, taking too little risk, and that means you should balance risk with beating inflation, no? So what would be your investment decisions at this time, no? One would be to still continue establishing your emergency fund, no? Obviously, as you become wealthier, or your salary becomes higher, or your family or your monthly expenses go up, your emergency fund should also go up, no? Because that means your lifestyle will have to be retained or maintained. If something bad happens to you, like you get fired, then while you're looking for the new job, your emergency fund should be able to answer for that lost income, no? Lalo na ngayon na may umaasa sa yung pamilya, no? Second would be adding to your insurance. Obviously, you add a little more because the value that you bring to the family has increased. More people are now depending on you. And then third, your portfolio should become more diversified now. The aggression should still be there. Like I said earlier, dapat meron ka pa rin konting risk-taking na ginagawa. But it should now be more moderate, no? And we also like you to continue to invest periodically. Doesn't mean that you're wealthier now and your investment portfolio is big now, tumigil ka na sa pagdagdag periodically. No, you should continue that, no? So a typical investment portfolio recommendation for this one would be something of a reduced aggressive portfolio. It's still aggressive, but not as aggressive as it was in the previous life stage, no? I put equities here at around 70% na lang from the 90%, and added around 20% in bonds or income oriented UITFs, no? Your cash is still around 10%, no? That should still be your emergency fund. So fun ideas, again, just recommendation: 10% money market, 20% American growth, 20% global technology, and 30% global thematic opportunity. So this would be your equity, your 70% equity, no, spread across three funds, and then your 20% in bonds and income should be around 10% income builder. So that's a Philippine bond strategy, and 10% global multi-asset diversified income. So that's an income strategy. So uh, there's still some aggression there. You're still gonna get some potential for capital appreciation, pero at least you've reduced your aggression already because you're already, you're already have higher responsibilities, and therefore there should be some balance between aggressiveness and capital preservation. Okay. So after this, now you go to the third stage, no? Then this is your pre-retirement stage, no? So this is around age 40 to 60. Your objective now would be preserving your wealth, no, to some degree. Uh, Looking at income now rather than growth, no? So because you might want to get some money to spend nearing retirement, so you have to start to get that, no, and then you have to uh, your focus now will also be to have a smooth transition to retirement. The key word there is smooth, meaning you're gonna uh, uh, stop earning salaries, no, or earning money from your business because it's you boss you will obviously retire. But while that has happened, you still want to have that lifestyle, that what you're used to, and your family, the lifestyle that they're used to. So therefore, income is something that is very important for you to start looking at. And then you should also look at estate planning already, like how am I going to transfer my wealth to my kids at the most efficient possible manner. So what to avoid? To avoid, I guess at this stage, the most important thing that you should avoid would be taking too much risk, no, because your retirement is already nearing, no. So my recommendation here is to start already moving some of your equity portfolio again more towards bonds or income. So on the next slide, you will see here your important investment decisions that will be influenced because you're in this life stage already, because of your situation, because you're nearing retirement. Continue to invest periodically, but now reduce risk, no, already. Add more income earning asset classes like bonds and income paying funds, and reduce your equity exposure. So as you can see in this stage, the pattern will continue, meaning your equity position will be reduced again. Uh, so money market stays the same. Your equity position will move from 70% to 50%, again spread across the three funds that I showed you earlier. But now your bond position, yung violet slice of that pie, no, has increased from 20% to 40%. No? Again, you start to put some more importance on capital preservation and income, no, rather than aggressive growth. No? Some of you might think this is still too aggressive. 60-year-old, 50% no investment portfolio niya, still equities. Yeah, so, again, you may want to reduce that further. It's really up to you. This is just a recommendation. But I know some people in retirement who are still aggressive, because they feel that they can do so. So now let's go to the last stage. No? And the last stage is the retirement stage. This is where your objective is really to earn income for you to spend, no? And to preserve capital. So this would be around 60 years and onwards. Again, generally speaking lang yan. Some people, they still want to work after 60, or some people want to retire at 50. It really depends on you. So the focus here would be generating income, since salaries and or business income may stop. Now, some people, when they hit 60, they don't want to work anymore, and or they want to, give their business already to their kids. No? So generally, income or salaries will start happening. So you need to generate income from somewhere else, no? Which is probably your investment portfolio. And then the next goal that you have would be to preserve capital, no? Because obviously, uh, that's where income comes from. Therefore, you want to preserve that, because if that becomes too low, then your income will also go low. And how are you going to spend on your, what you spend after retirement, which is basically your basic needs. And also you want to have a certain lifestyle that you want to retain from your working age. So you need to spend money there. No? So important also is regular portfolio review because you want to find out whether your fund is dwindling already or you're spending too much or it's not earning too much. So there should always be some regular portfolio review. And then what to avoid? You should avoid withdrawing funds more than what you can afford. You know, you have to face the fact that if your present lifestyle has to be reduced a little bit so that your investment nest egg will last until the end of your days, then you have to adjust a little bit. Also, avoid being dependent on your children, because that culture that we have, wherein where we believe that our children has the responsibility to take care of us because we spent money on their education and on their health, etc., etc. That should stop, no, because that's why we're doing this, actually, to invest, no, so that our children can be free of that responsibility to take care of us or to spend on us, right? So please avoid that as well. So on the investment decisions that you should be doing at this stage, as I mentioned earlier, you should focus more on income earning funds. You should plan your withdrawal schedule, no? Be faithful to that so that you won't deplete your portfolio quicker than is necessary. But you should also try to minimize risk. So in this recommendation, our equities portion has been reduced to actually 10%. Um, your money market at 10%, and then your bonds at around 80%, no? So very, very income oriented, so that you will get monthly income for you to spend, and your objective is really to preserve capital, no? Hindi na masyadong aggressive. There's still some aggression there because meron ka pa naman 10%, but it's really a more income oriented portfolio. So a recommendation here is 10% money market, 10% global dynamic leaders, or global thematic opportunities, whatever that what you might want to look at into. Those are both global equities, and then around 80% in income earning strategies like our global preferred income and our global multi-asset diversified income. This 80% investment in income strategies will give you the monthly income that you may use, no, during your retirement. So some final thoughts before I end, because that will be the 4 stages. So three items lang, so that are very important. So the first one is about inflation, because some people think that inflation is something that is scaring us too much, no? Particularly last year, this was the biggest story, because inflation was very high in 2022 and 2023. Please don't forget about that. People think that like they hear 4% inflation. Wow, that's bababa lang yun. What's 4%? 4% is like if the price of tuition last year was 100,000 pesos. Let's say this is one semester in college, and then this year it will go to 4%. It will just be 104,000. So this should not be something that should worry you, no? But that is the wrong thinking, because if you're maybe was born last year and you're planning for her or his college education when she becomes 18, and you believe 4% is a small amount, even at 4% every year, which is not really the case for education, because we all know education costs can go as high as 10%, 20% per year. So even at 4%, you're gonna double your requirement, no? So even at a very modest 4%, when your baby goes to college in 18 years, the tuition is going to be double, from 100,000 to be around 202,000, no? And that's a very modest 4% assumption, because there will be years that a college will say no, the price increase now is 10% or 15%. So remember, I think the law right now allows uh, colleges and universities to have no limit in their decision to increase tuition fees. So please do not belittle inflation. Do not look at 4% and laugh at it, no? Because even at 4%, that's double in 18 years. So next thing that I'd like you to so next thing I'd like you to look into, and And that goes again, sorry, going back to inflation, that goes back to what I said earlier, which is you shouldn't be afraid to take or you shouldn't be too conservative, because if you can't beat the 4%, then you're losing money. So that, makes you think about, dapat may konting aggression doon sa doon sa portfolio mo, because you have the need to beat inflation. So second thing that I'd like you to look at is starting too late. Yung thinking of I'm just 25 or 20 years old right now. I have time. Mag-YOLO muna ako. I don't need to invest, no? So here's an example of a person, of two guys, no? One person deciding to invest 10,000 a month uh, until he retires, when he becomes 60. That's the green bar there. But he started when he was 30, no? Um, the other guy, the pink bar here, no? He decided to do the same. 10,000 a month din siya until I retire. However, he decided to do it when he was 40. Assuming a moderately possible average return of 8% per annum on your portfolio on that 10,000 a month that you're putting into. Pareho silang 8% per annum. 8% is not, hard to do, kasi kung may equities yung portfolio mo, then it's possible that your portfolio can reach that, no? um, the guy who started the 30 years will have around 15 million pesos when he's at 60, and that's just 10,000 a month. No, obviously a normal person will have more money as he nears retirement, no, kasi napopromote siya or gumaganda yung buhay niya. But assuming 10,000 lang niligay niya every month, he will reach 15 million when he reaches 60, even at a modest 8% per annum. The other guy who started 10 years later and decided to invest when he was 40 already will also earn, a decent amount of money, 6 million pesos. But the difference is large, no? It's around 9 million pesos difference, no? So ang laki ng difference, no? And this is the power of starting early. So that's why we recommend to people to start. Wag niyo maliitin yung 10,000 a month. Wag niyo maliitin yung nagsa-start ka early. No, the time is more powerful than actually the initial investment. No, time will more than make up for that. No, and then my final reminder would be again on the spirit of time. No, time also has the added benefit of giving you the ability to take more risk. Ito yung sinabi ko earlier na when you're in the accumulation stage, you can actually take some risks. No? Why? Because you have time. You have that asset. Not all people have that asset. No? Obviously, people who are in the 40s or in their 50s will have less time as compared to a person who is starting when he was in his 20s or 30s. No? So this is a study that we made based on 20 years of movement of the Philippine stock market, of the US stock market, and the Hong Kong China stock market, no? And anywhere we look at, um the 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 fact that the longer you stay, the higher the chances of you earning money and not losing money is true, no? So based on this study that we did from 1999 to 2021, whenever you decided to invest, regardless kung 90s ka nag-invest or 2000s or 2010s, no? If you had only a 1 year horizon or 1 year investment horizon, you had around 30% chance of losing money in any of these markets, no? So 30% is not bad, no? At least 70% chance of earning money, pero 30% a chance of losing money for a 1 year investment horizon it can hurt you kung ikaw yung natsambahan ng 30%, no? But if you increase your investment horizon to 5 years, based on our study, um, at any time did you invest, then you would have an increased, no, chance of not losing money. So 6% chance na lang of losing money sa PSEI, 14% chance na lang of losing money sa US equities, and around 6% chance of losing money in the Chinese equities market. But if you go to 10%, you're gonna have close to 100%. No? I mean 10 years. If you go to 10 years based on our study. So this study proves that having a long-term view in investment will actually really help you and give you the ability to reach your goals and not lose money. Even if the stock markets of the Philippines, of the US and China are not guaranteed. They may be volatile, but if you're a long-term investor, the chances of you losing money will actually go down as the longer you invest. Now, obviously, if you're a 20-year-old, you're a 30-year-old, 10 years is nothing to you, right? Because what's 10 years, no? That's going to be a short period for you. So that's my last slide, and I'm opening the floor to questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Matubis, for that very insightful presentation. And some of my biggest takeaways in this presentation is that age is one of the main factors that we have to consider when deciding the allocation of your investments, and your risk appetite as well. Kasi yun nga, 'di ba? Hindi hindi maganda na basta-basta lang nagde-decide kung saan ka mag-i-invest, 'di ba? You have to strategically place your investments depending on the life phase that you have right now, 'di ba? And second takeaway na nakuha ko is the best time to invest is now. Yung sinabi nga ni Sir Matubis kanina, 'di ba, na as time progresses, mas maliit yung chance na mag-compound yung investments mo or yung money mo na hindi ka nag-i-invest, diba? The earlier, the better. Time is our friend when we invest, and we have to take advantage of compound interests. And when we start early, we don't let our money be eaten by inflation. Ayan. So let's hear from the audience naman. No? We have Sir Matubis and Franco Fernandez, Dragonfly Research Analyst, to answer your questions. Keep the questions coming in the comment section so that we can answer them. So the first question that we have, how much tax sa money market fund?
Great question. So for the money market fund, and this applies to almost all to UITFs in general, is that when you redeem or when you withdraw your money and get your money, and then there's earnings, you don't pay any. There's no taxes withheld. No? So for example, I think you saw that during the introduction before the webinar started. You saw an image, wherein we say that our money market fund performed 4.8% net last year, for our customers, then that 4.8% is point to point, meaning you invested January 1, then by December 31, your money has grown by 4.8%. That is, there will be no taxes withheld from that. So that is already technically net earnings.
Okay, so for our next question, given that we seem to be starting a bull run locally and investors continue to be exuberant in the US, is a fixed income portfolio ill-advised or less important in this moment?
A great question. So, again, 2023 was not really a great year for the Philippine economy, but it was a great year for global equities. So last year, our customers who were diversified outside of the Philippines really did well. We're really happy. This year, the view is that inflation will continue to moderate, and not just in the Philippines but globally. And then the US Fed will probably cut rates. Although there will be some volatilities pa rin early in the year, particularly if inflation starts to temporarily go up again. But the feeling is definitely more positive this year than last year. So and people might be encouraged to go all out 100% equity, both local and foreign, because of that exuberance in the markets, as the question has posed here. So again, it really depends. So the question is, should I forget about fixed income? My answer is no, because you should also look at where you are right now. It really depends from person to person. If you're at a very early life stage, aggressive, can really take that risk. Yung katulad nung sinabi ko life stage kanina, na malayo ka from retirement, wala ka namang ini-expect na kailangan mo yung that portion of your money within, let's say, 3 years, or even worse, 1 year, baka kailanganin mo siya, then you can avoid fixed income altogether. Then invest really in local stocks and foreign stocks, no, through Dragonfly's offerings, no. But if you are nearing retirement, or like I said earlier, already have a family, or you are expecting to spend something, or a portion of that money you're expecting to spend something in the near term, like a car, or a down payment for a house, no. And if it's very close to where you are right now, then that portion of your money can't be too aggressive, no. Because even if there's a bull run, if there's a temporary correction, then by the time you need it, lugi ka, 'di ba? So, or baka hindi optimal yung situation mo. So it really depends from person to person, but I do understand the excitement over equities right now. But fixed income is there, to put, is not is should not be, it should not be automatic that fixed income is out of the picture. Bonds, or bond funds, or income paying strategies, kalimutan na natin yan kasi maganda yung market. Definitely, the answer to that question is no. There will be some reasons why you should still consider putting that in your portfolio.
Yeah. So, moving on to our next question. When to pay debt or to invest? Debts like home loan
Yeah.
or car loan.
Great question. Great question. So there are debts that are bad, no, really bad, and debts that are good, no. So it really depends on your view, no. So for example, I would say debts that are funding something that is essential to you, no, like a car loan might be more efficient to you, because if you compute what you will spend if you use Grab, going to and from work, or the impact of commuting to your life, to your health, to your work quality, baka hindi ka pa ma-promote dahil lagi ka late, etc., etc. Then getting a debt will in some way be good, no. So again, just balance it out. Don't be too lavish. Yung tama lang na kotse for you, and also a home loan would be something that will be something to also consider, particularly if you compare it to, for example, renting na lang, no, and you're spending almost the same amount of money. So not all debts are the same. Some debts will be good for you, but if you're incurring too much debt because this is your second car, or your third car, or this is a sports car that you probably don't need, no, yung mga ganon, those are really bad, or debt that funds luxuries, no. So those are the things that you need to invest to avoid, no? And then once you have money left over, then start to invest, and then the bad debts, that if you do have bad debts, I think it would be better to pay them off first, no, as a first option. But when you have no more bad debts, you have money left, then you really have to invest, no, because for you to achieve your financial goals faster.
Okay, so Franco, what are your thoughts about this question ba?
Yes. So yeah, you definitely should pay off your debts and your loans first, because down the road, your interest, if you fail to pay, your interest will accumulate, and you'd end up paying more in the end, which could affect your ability to invest and save, towards your financial goals.
Okay, so moving on to our next question. What is the retention po para sa investment?
Great question, no? So this is a typical question that we have, particularly for people who are new to UITFs, who have been used to time deposits for so long. The answer there is 0 days, no? So it's really up to you. We don't have any minimum investment period, no. Though there are no termination charges, there's not even a requirement for you to top up or to regularly add to your investment, no. So it's really up to your discipline, what you want to do, what you want to invest. But there are certain parameters on the investment horizon. Like for example, if it's an equity fund, what we really recommend is for you to have a medium to long term view, because like I said, equity funds might give you 50% in a year, like last year our global technology fund gave our customers 48 to 49% return, in just 1 year. But that will not always happen, and that's not in a straight line, so if you have a very short-term view on a particular amount of money, that money should not really go to aggressive UITFs, so having said that, even if you put it there, let's say you believe na 5 years mo naman siya matatago, kasi di ko pa siya gagastusin, so I put it in the global technology fund, for example. But unfortunately you still had an emergency. The good news is, sige, fine, mag-withdraw ka, we will allow it, no charges, no exit fees whatsoever. You will get the account value at the time that you're redeeming. So that's what's great about UITFs. No holding periods that are required, and no termination charges to speak of.
Yeah, speaking of funds, you can now invest in funds with Dragonfly, So just
Yes.
open an account in Dragonfly and you can find the list of funds that you can invest in. Pwede mo din ma-search yung mga info about it so that you can learn more about it before you invest. Ayan. So before we move on to our next question, I'm encouraging the audience to please drop your questions in the comment section. Sasagutin namin yan. So, moving on to our next question. What are your views on alternative assets? Example, private infrastructure, venture capital, private credit, etc. May puwang po ba ang mga ito sa isang retail investor portfolio?
Yeah, so this is a great question. So typically, alternative investments like those mentioned, private infrastructure, venture capital, private credit, these are usually reserved for institutions or high net worth customers. Why? Because this will be more complicated. We'll need more information from an investor point of view. Might be a little bit riskier than others, and usually they will probably have higher minimum requirements, so not the ones that you will see with the UITFs, like for example, the funds that we're offering at the Dragonfly platform, minimum requirement lang nun is 1,000 pesos. So obviously you will not see a private credit offering that will allow you to invest 1,000 pesos, so I think the answer is usually it's not really for retail investors. So retail investors, while their offerings might be a little bit more limited, compared to the alternative assets, but then again, you have many options, so like I said, you can already invest in US stocks, even global REITs, even this universe called preferred securities that behave like stocks, but at the same time have bond-like features. Yung mga ganon na very unique, those are things that you can already avail of, and I don't think you need to go beyond that, as a retail investor, because you will find already the variety, the diversified choices, even at what you can get from the UITFs, that are available already, So things like REITs, global REITs, technology stocks, healthcare stocks, environment-friendly stocks like ESG, stocks from India, stocks from Asia, healthcare stocks. They're already available sa Dragonfly. Why do you need to go to more complicated asset classes where minimum requirements might be too high?
Yes. So for our next question, is it guaranteed that I will have a comfortable retirement if I start saving and investing at the age of 25 to 30?
Yeah, so the word guarantee is something that is very strong and something that we'd like to avoid. But based on our study, like we showed you earlier, particularly if you follow regular investing, long-term investing, and you know, don't get too scared when markets are down. You most like the chances of you having reaching your financial goals or getting a decent return, no, not losing money, is actually very high, no. Let's just you know, let's just qualify what a comfortable retirement is, no, compared to what you're investing, kasi it really depends on, you know, what do you mean by comfortable retirement, no. So but what we can more or less say that will have a very high chance of happening is that you will probably earn a decent amount of money, not lose money, if you follow long-term investing and periodic investing, no, and avoid, you know, kasi for example, long-term investor ka nga, pero every time the markets are bad, you withdraw, natatakot ka, you pull out, you're incurring losses, di ba? So by the time that when markets are bad, pagbalik mo, hahabuli mo na naman yung losses mo, di ba? So hindi rin siya guaranteed because of that, no. So but if you stay the course, like I said, 25 years old ka pa lang naman, you're gonna need that money, you know, another 35 years down the road when you're 60. And then you don't withdraw when you're scared, you actually just keep on adding. The chances of you not earning money, losing money is gonna be very, very small.
Yeah, if I may add lang, no, kasi
Mm.
kapag natatakot kayong natatakot kayo sa market masyado, natatakot kayo sa
Mm.
long-term investing, nasisira yung momentum ng compound interest mo eh. And compound interest is what we are after when it comes to investing. So what about you, Franco? What are your thoughts about this?
I totally agree with Mr. Matubis. The longer you stay invested, the greater probability of your investment turning a return. And of course, you have to stay focused over the long term towards your investment goal and tune out the noise of the short term. And in terms of a comfortable retirement, I suppose it also depends on your goal or what you define comfortable. And if you set that goal and work towards it and stay disciplined, it's definitely possible to achieve that comfortable retirement that you aim for if you start early and you take advantage of the power of compounding.
And so next question. How many % of my income should be allocated to saving and investing respectively?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So like I said earlier, our definition of saving is more towards setting up an emergency fund, while investing will be towards long-term goals, no, like saving for retirement or saving for the college education of your kids, no. So what I showed you earlier was very general, no, like 10-90 if you're young, and then paliit ng paliit yung 90 mo, will be more savings, like, no, investing pa rin siya kasi bond funds siya tsaka income siya, but it's not as aggressive as your earlier stage, no. So those are general recommendations. So some people believe that what you save lang or your emergency fund should be around 3 to 6 times your salary lang, no. Investing less than 3 will be detrimental to you or investing the less than 3 times will be detrimental to you if an emergency happens, no. But investing more than 6 times can be detrimental to you, because that means a big portion of your investment portfolio is not earning to does not have the potential to earn higher than inflation. And I showed you earlier the impact of inflation. So you have to balance that out, and that's why our recommendations was what I showed you earlier. But again, it really depends on you. I think the rule of thumb of 3 times to 6 times of your salary is your emergency fund. Yun lang ilalagay mo dun sa liquidity mo, which is your money market fund. That makes sense, no? Because, you know, usually studies have shown that when you get fired, it will take you around 3 to 6 months for you to find a new job, diba? So kaya 3 to 6 yung rule of thumb, no? It shouldn't be but the bottom line is you should have that portion, that saving portion or that liquidity portion, but it shouldn't be too big, no? Because if it's too big, that's gonna eat into your power to defeat inflation.
Ayan. Do you have something to add, Franco?
Yeah. So we actually do have educational articles on our Dragonfire webpage that discuss the allocation that you should be investing or saving for each age group. So it's
Yeah.
advisable to start between 10 to 15% of your annual income. And as you grow older and reach your, get closer to your retirement age, you start saving and putting aside more of your annual income.
Okay, on to the next question. Where do you suggest to put money intended for huge purchases like a house?
For me, it depends on how soon you want to do that, no? So, simple rule of thumb, if it's 3 years down the road pa naman, maybe you can have some aggression, no? 50-50 siguro, 50 equity, 50 bonds, no? But if it's next year, then I'm sorry, I recommend not to become too aggressive, no? If it's 10 years down the road, then you can really be aggressive, no? So it really, I think the most important factor there would be when do you plan to do it, no? Because if it's too near already, you can't really take too much risk, no? Kasi baka by the time that you need it, masama yung market, then that will really impact you, no? Your ability to purchase the house, no? So um, have that plan, no? When do you plan to buy that house or to set or to make any investment or any expense for that matter that you're preparing for? It may be a house, it may be the college education of your kids or your retirement. So have that, and then another bucket would be or something for something else, no? So ito pwedeng mas aggressive to kasi retirement to. Itong bucket ng money ko, hindi to pwedeng masyado maging aggressive kasi this is for an expense that I'm looking at around 3 years down the road. Yeah, and so on. So have those buckets also as I in your investment planning, no?
Ayan. So for our next question, how big should an
And
emergency fund be?
I think I answered that earlier already. 3 to 6 times of your monthly salary. That's the general rule of thumb, no? There's not an exact number, but like studies have shown that it usually takes 3 to 6 months to recover from an emergency. Like if you got fired or you got retrenched or your business it was not successful, it takes another 3 to 6 months to set up a new business. So usually that's the rule of thumb, no? 3 to 6 times your what your income is.
So for the next question, what are some common mistakes people make when saving and investing for retirement, and how can they be avoided?
Yeah, so I mentioned some of these things already earlier. So for example, being too aggressive, no? Malapit ka na mag-retire pero yung portfolio mo 100% equities, magkaroon lang ng ng bad news or volatility in the market, your retirement is in jeopardy, no? Because you can't withdraw it, you can't use it because you are at a loss, no? So that's one. Another one would be the other extreme, being too conservative, no? All your life, time deposit ka lang, roll over, 1 month roll over, na-realize mo magre-retire ka na, ang kinita mo lang for the whole 20 years of your life is 3% per annum. 'Di ba? And inflation during your life was averaging 4% per annum. You actually lost money in the bank, no? So that would be something that you should also avoid, no? Having too little risk, as I mentioned earlier, in your portfolio. Other things to avoid, I mentioned it already earlier, not being disciplined enough to invest regularly. Because if you're not disciplined enough, you might be tempted to spend it, no? May sale lang dyan, magagastos mo na siya. And I think Franco can also expound on Dragonfly's ability to help you automate your investing actions para maiwasan yung mistake na yan. What else? Yun, yung being too afraid when markets are volatile. So, lugi ka ng X% during this period because markets were volatile. And then you panic, you withdraw your money, realize your losses, and that can really hurt you down the road. So yeah, so I think Franco can expound on Dragonfly's automated platform.
Yeah, so on Dragonfly with the funds, you can actually automate your investments on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or yearly basis. And personally, me, I one of the mistakes I've had before was staying undisciplined or forgetting to make my recurring investments every month. And I could forget for a bunch of reasons, but now that with the auto investing feature, I no longer have to think about it. I just have to set it once, and then Dragonfly will automatically make those investments for you. And another mistake that I believe that some people tend to make, like I have, is um, withdrawing your investment before reaching your goal, because sometimes during volatile market periods, it's very tempting to secure those gains or to cut your losses, especially when the market has become very depressed. So it, I would like to also go back to the point that you made that earlier in your slides, that the probability of your investment giving you a return is higher the longer you stay invested. So I suppose the way to avoid this mistake is to always remember the goal, to remember the long-term objective, and to, of course, only I suppose you can only withdraw your investment if there are fundamental changes to the environment. And yeah.
Ayan. So, very easy na lang no mag-invest. Hindi mo na kailangan isipin every month or every,
Month.
yeah, yung mga investments mo pag nag-auto-invest ka with Dragonfly. So, please, you can try to explore the Dragonfly platform. Tingnan niyo yung lahat ng features na meron kami. And then, open an account when you're ready to invest with us. So, next question. You mentioned that in your 30s to 40s, people commonly take too much or too little risks. What kinds of stocks and bonds should 30s to 40s be investing so that it will fit the risk profile then, and how is it different from 20s to 30s?
So great question. So again, what we showed earlier in the slides will be just general recommendations. So let's start with the 20 to 30s. You're young. It's around 40 years to retirement. The chances of you really not losing money is very low, because the markets where you invest in will have the ability to recover even if there were periods of volatility. So you can really be aggressive when you're 20 to 30. But once you start in that 30 to 40 stage, where you're starting to have a family already, when you are starting to have responsibilities already, or the fact that you're around 20 years towards retirement already, you should start to moderate your risk already, no. So I think in the slide I still put in 70%, no? So hindi pa rin naman siya very very moderate, no. So 70%. So the idea there, for example, is around 10% in money market. That's your liquidity. And then around 20% in a bond fund, in a bond fund, and another 20%, another 10% in an income paying fund. So these two funds will be in the moderate, more or less not as very aggressive as an equity strategy, because bonds are generally less volatile, less aggressive, and then the income paying strategy will pay income every month to you, no. So that reduces volatility even further, no. And being an income fund, it's not really very aggressive, no. And then the 70% will still give you the the kick, no. Siya yung aggressive, siya yung magbibigay ng high return. So what kind of stocks are there? Like for example, yung US equity strategy namin, this will be US stocks, no. Brands that are very popular, that are multinationals, that are generating revenues from everywhere in the world. So diversified ability to generate revenues. And then technology stocks, that's probably the most aggressive portion of your portfolio, because they're taking advantage of developments right now, like artificial intelligence, no. So these are very high performing aggressive stocks, but there will be volatility there. And then the other the other portfolio to complete your 70% will be a global equity strategy, like global dynamic leaders or global thematic opportunities, both of which will be a diversified portfolio of the best brands in the world, investing in companies that are domiciled not just in the US but globally. So these are the things that you can look into. Your while your 70% is in equities, it's still very diversified, no? So meron ka pa rin konting security there, no? And like I said, when you're in the 30s and 40s, your bond and income portion will temper that aggression a little bit. Claude, I think you're on mute.
Ayan. Okay, so thank you for answering that question. Before we proceed to our next questions, I'm inviting the audience to continue dropping your questions in the comment section and we'll answer them. So next question. Do you think neo or digital banks are better options compared to money market or house your emergency fund,
Emergency.
at least for now?
Yeah, so these are very similar in their and the fact that they're cash, what we call cash assets, no, money market funds, and bank deposits are in that asset class, no, meaning very little volatility, very little risk, but at the same time, a little their potential to earn is also not that high, no. So it really depends on the customer, on the return as well. So when you compare returns, please compare also on a net basis, because I know digital banks will have taxes, no, incurred, no. So may withholding tax yon. So please, when you compare returns, please compare on a net return basis. Second is bank time deposits, whether digital or not digital, may have requirements on tenors, no, like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And what if you have an emergency? Remember, this is for an emergency fund, not falling on the maturity date, no? You will have to pay, I think, doc stamps and even per-termination charges, no? So those are the things that you have to consider. Sa money market, walang ganon, no? Money market, you invest January 1, you had an emergency March 15, hindi siya eksaktong 1, 'di ba? So kahit wala kang charges, 'di ba? If you need to withdraw it, no? But sa bank deposit, for example, you invested sa 1 month TD, pag nag-invest ka January 1, makaka-withdraw ka lang every first of the month lang, or second or third of the month, depending kung 31 days or 30 days yung month, no? So meron kang ganong restriction na magbabayad ka ng ng pre-termination charges or ng doc stamps if it doesn't fall on the anniversary date, no. So sa money market fund, no anniversary dates, no nothing like that. You need your money, you get your money, no charges,
Yeah, what about
no
you,
doc stamps. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Sir Matubis. When it comes to liquidity, I believe that a money market would be a better option, and if your other option is a time deposit in one of these banks, because of the added fees or the duration of that time deposit. But if you're thinking about just simply putting it in a regular savings account of a digital bank because they offer a relatively higher savings rate compared to a traditional bank, then for an emergency fund that you believe that you'll be using in the near term, then you can put it in a digital bank for liquidity, of course.
Ayan. So moving on to our next question. I am in my 60s and planning to retire, but I have aggressive equity funds that are gaining naman. Should I sell them or buy income-paying funds or bonds so that I can have regular payouts? My aggressive equity funds are not income-paying, so it's more like a sell when happy kind of thing.
So great question. So yeah, that's the nature of aggressive equity funds, no. They are aggressive. They will potentially give you more returns. They don't have payouts, no. So you will only become quote unquote happy when you sell, no. Hindi katulad ng income paying funds, you're not selling pero every month you get something, no. So to answer the question, is it really depends on you. If you remember in my chart earlier, 10% na lang yung equity portfolio ko doon sa 60s yata, no, or something like that, no. So So mababa na lang yung my recommendation is 80% income paying na, no? Because you're retired, you're probably not getting income already, so there's something that should keep you afloat by giving you income. So again, it really depends, no? Because the person who asked this question, maybe that's what he or she is like, no? He's aggressive, no? Marami naman siyang sigurong, like for example, baka naman marami siyang other sources of income, no? Baka meron pa siyang business or meron siyang other assets that earns him money, like rent from an apartment or something like that. Then maybe yes, you can no, you can actually have more equity funds, more than 10% your portfolio. Depends on really from person to person. So what I showed earlier would be more of a general recommendation to an average investor. But it really depends on person to person. So you should really you should when you're thinking about what to do here, if you're in your 60s, then you have to weigh that the pros and cons. So like I said, aggressive funds give you higher potential returns, but that will be riskier. And then your income paying funds will be less aggressive. You automatically get income every month, even if you're not withdrawing, so you're happy, quote unquote, without selling, no. So but you're not going to get the 50% that global tech gave last year, no, or the 49% that global tech gave last year. But you won't have the volatility of global tech. So yun yung pros and cons nun. So it really depends on the person, but our recommendation is less aggressiveness when you're already nearing retirement or planning to retire.
Moving on to our next question. Where do I invest my 100K if I intend to use it in 5 years?
So good question. Really depends on other factors, like what is your age right now, what is 100K to your total for portfolio. Is it a big chunk of your investment portfolio, or is it a small chunk? Or if your investment portfolio, are you 20 years old? Are you 59 years old? But generally speaking, it's in 5 years, then you can have some aggression there. You can take some risks, no? So pwede kang mag-diversified equity na yung tatlong funds na mention namin earlier. Generally speaking, no. But again, it really depends, no. For example, if 100,000 is 99% of your wealth, medyo bawasan mo yung aggression mo. Or if and inversely, if your 100,000 is 10% of your wealth, or just a small portion of my total wealth, I have a big house, no, I'm earning salary that is very high, then you can really be aggressive.
Ayan, we're down to our last few questions, no? So moving on to our next question. For bond investments, is it better to invest in US dollar denominated one than the peso denominated one?
That's a great question. So it really depends. Again, what's important is diversification. So if you can invest in both, why not? No, we have funds that are invested in dollar-denominated bonds, and we have funds that are invested in peso-denominated ones. So pwede mo naman tingnan. By the way, the funds that are in the UITFs that are in the platform of Dragonfly are denominated in peso, right? Claude and Franco, no? So kahit offshore strategy yung iniinvestahan mo, o yung binibili mo, US equity, US dollar, global tech, no? Those are obviously offshore strategies. You don't need to buy dollars, no? You can use your pesos, no? Because that's what we did, no, to make it convenient for Filipino investors, no. So either way, pero important yung exposure mo, di ba? The difference is if you're investing in a dollar bond strategy, yung risk mo iba doon. There would be the country risks involved there, but compared to the peso strategy, ang risk doon will be peso, the Philippine inflation rate, what's happening to the Philippine economy, ganun. So I guess important then yung may diversification ka, na if you want to invest in both, then do so, no.
Ayan. So moving on to our next question. When considering investing in funds for my retirement plan, is it advisable to wait for the market to become cheaper, or does the NAV at the time of investment have minimal impact in the long-term performance of the investment?
Great question. So I always have this, I always hear this question, mataas na yung NAV po. Ayoko na mag-invest or it might be too late. No? So the correct answer there is don't care about the NAV po. That's not important. That's just an arbitrary number, no? A number that was set. That is the impact of because of what the original NAV po was set up during launch. No, so what's important is look at the potential of the asset class to perform. No? So a fund that has very small NAV po pero is invested in an asset class that is not expected to grow will underperform than a fund that has a big NAV po right now but is continue to is that is expected to continue to grow, like like long-term view of the tech sector is very positive. There is a positive outlook for US equities, ganyan. So kahit mataas yung NAV po nun, you shouldn't care. What's important is what's the long-term outlook for the strategy. That will be the one that will matter.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mr. Matubis, that the NAPU doesn't have that much, is not the price of the NAPU won't have that much impact.
Yeah.
But not to contradict you or anything, but if you do, if I think personally, because I've been investing in Manulife funds for a bit now, and one of the strategies that I've tried doing is that, especially with a specific fund that has this index that it's following, sometimes I do try to time the correction or the pullback of the index that the fund is trying to follow, and then from there I can take advantage of that opportunity to add to my investment. So, but over the long term, it shouldn't have that much impact because of the objective of the fund and the overall potential of the fund. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to our next question. What specific equity and bond funds do you recommend for each life stage? I guess nasagot na natin yan, ano? But maybe you can elaborate. I understand.
So yeah. This is a great question. The good news is the array of funds or UITFs that you can buy from Dragonfly is wide. No, there are, like I said earlier, US stocks, tech stocks, global stocks, stocks that are investing in the clean energy story, stocks that are invested in India, Asian stocks, Asian bonds, Philippine stocks. Ang daming choices, no? We have around 20 funds yata in the platform, no? That's the good news. The bad news is, or the medyo bad news is yung tanong ni sir, no, which is, or ni ma'am, which is nakaka-confuse, no. That's why we encourage everyone to go to the Dragonfly platform. It's very user friendly. There are lots of information there. I think there are even charts there, charts, descriptions. You can click on links to our website or even to certain documents there that you can read and see past performance, see what are the top 10 holdings, see the returns for the past few months, etc., etc. I encourage everyone to learn, no. Sinabi ko rin kanina as basics, no. So you have to learn, no, to find out, no. But generally speaking, we like the US market right now. We like technology stocks right now. The forecast for lower inflation also will help Philippine stocks as well. The forecast for rate cuts from the Fed within the year, no, I'm not saying it's going to happen soon, but within the year is also very positive, no. So those are the things that you should look into, global equities at the same time. But I encourage everyone to learn, no, to use the Dragonfly platform to investigate, to research, and find out what fund you want to buy.
Yeah. To add, no, I guess the rule of thumb here is the more younger that you are, mas pwede kang maging aggressive with your investments. And with the Dragonfly platform naman, you can see kung aggressive ba yung aggressive ba yung investment na gusto mong tignan. Ayan. So just go through to our platform and explore our platform, and you will see na madali na lang magtingin kung ano yung pinakamagandang investments for you. So, Franco, do you have anything to say?
Personally, I've invested in the global tech fund because in the Philippines we don't have access to tech. So what the great thing about the global funds of Manulife is that it gives you exposure to themes that are not easily accessible here in the Philippines. And so for someone of my age, the risk that I can take is a lot higher. So I do recommend for people or investors that are well as young as me to invest in the funds such as the global tech because it gives you exposure to something we haven't really seen well we haven't seen yet, which is the AI trend. So it's best to take advantage of that now. Yeah.
Ayan. So, unfortunately, no, this is our last question, and that is all the time that we have for the Q&A portion. But should you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to contact our social media pages. It's at Dragonfly HQ sa lahat ng mga social media accounts namin. And now it's time to announce the winner of our 500 pesos Grab credits. No, the winners are Ellie Paklibar and Leandro Romero. Congratulations to the both of you. Please message our Facebook page to redeem your prize. So the next webinar in collaboration with Manulife Investment Management will be on February 28th. This is tentative, and it will be about investing for your retirement. No? So nalaman na natin ngayon the strategies to implement at every life stage. Paano naman if we are investing for your retirement? So please stay tuned for our updates regarding our next webinar. So you may register for the upcoming webinars by scanning the QR codes flashed on the screen. Once again, we would like to invite to invest in funds with Dragonfly. Open an account and invest in funds for as low as 1,000 pesos only with no lock-in and added fees. As we wrap up today's webinar, I want to express our gratitude to Sir Zed and Manulife Investment Management for making this webinar possible. I hope you all found this webinar helpful for your investment journey. And we are ending the webinar for today. Thank you for joining us.